Again, Pluto is the harshness. If it's hitting Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, it's going to be the social output. If it's hitting the inner planets, it's going to be an internalized thing. But Saturn, it's your discipline. When I go on a fast, I go on long fast, longer than most people do. I push things to the limit. Pluto to Saturn, I have to do it. But if I don't control my disciplines, I never get anything done. So in a way, I've learned more from my enemies than my friends, in that they stood up to me to cause problems, and I wasn't prepared to quit because of that. I had to do something more because of it. But when Pluto gets out to Uranus, so to Saturn is father, authority, blocks and controls and confrontations around it. So what? Deal with it. It's a good Pluto movie. Seen Cool Hand Luke? It's an old movie with Paul Newman. He's put in a Southern chain gang, and everybody's controlling and doing this and that. And he gets into these little extreme actions that improves the spirit of the morale of all the prisoners at the expense of the guards. Anyways, it's an interesting movie. Ever see it? Going contrary and turning things around. But there's a reality factor with Pluto. And so what? That's normal for you. But when Pluto hits Uranus, Pluto hits Neptune. These are Pluto hits Neptune once every 500 years. I think, or is it 250? I think it's every 500 years. One second, I can't think straight at the moment. 1 second. 3 cycles of Neptune, 2 cycles of Pluto. Every conjunction of Pluto for 10,000 years has been in the sign of Gemini. And every opposition has been between Gemini and Sagittarius. Now, these are global factors, international factors, and they represent times you're born in and factors out in the world. You don't see them so much personally, except that when these aspects are there, they're doubling up they're doubling up in terms of how they affect your chart and what aspects they make. They make it a little more extreme. 1965, when Uranus and Pluto were conjunct in Virgo and opposed by Saturn and squared by Jupiter. That was the hippie revolution. Everybody was leaving home, leave the system, it's screwed, tune in, turn on, drop out, the system sucked. Anything's better than being part of the old military, regular suburbanite system. And that went on for a while, but still there was all sorts of challenges around it. It happened again in 89, 90 when Uranus and Neptune, when it came together. But all of the outer planets, you just take each one separately and we'll see how it works into the inner planets. And they'll just add up naturally. You don't have to think them through. It's just a strange generation. Went through this war, went through these things, and just, but I wouldn't try and think about it too much. You get a certain social sense of it. If you watch each planet go through each sign, you compare it to what you knew of history. Watching Pluto go through the signs, that would be just, you would see the different configurations coming in, the different generations. If you watch Neptune and Uranus, you watch each of these factors as social, cultural factors, and watch when they affect each other and what changes went on in the world. Then you have a sense of people born during that time who would pick up that and live their life through that. Well, hippies are a dying breed right now, isolated in their little pockets of oldness. There's probably 3/4 of the world never even heard of the Beatles, much less other musicians and other stuff. So it's all relative, like and go through these times. So I wouldn't try and read into the Uranus to Pluto to Uranus or Pluto to Neptune. I leave it as a mystery. But you might see them in a certain way as a generational factor, but when they touch personal planets, you see the stress pattern. So Planets have their stress patterns, but the aspects have a stress pattern. So a planet's colored by the sign it's in, it picks up that attitude. And that guides the quality and building up the quality of that sign through that planet. And it puts its energy into the affairs of the houses, into the categories of the houses. And it's going to do so easily or difficultly. So the aspects are just saying, oh, there's this kind of stress, oh, there's this kind of difficulty. You know, and someone may be a great pianist and their big problem is just trying to get this one little rhythm or one little note. They just can't quite do it. It's bugging them like crazy. And they may have to get extra training to do it or something, but it's, you don't want to say the person's been damaged or had some difficult lesson from Pluto, but they're going to recover. They have the potential to fail or fall because of it, or get stronger. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Still here. That reality check, that's Pluto. So you see it, it gives you an alert when you're looking at a chart, but don't be quick to talk about it. Ask about the moon, ask about the Venus, ask about the planet, and ask about what happened and try and get some of the person's stories. And as soon as they start telling you stories, oh, there it is. They had to deal with that. You know, like people that were in Vietnam that had to escape from Vietnam and were escaping on little boats and dying and things. Wow, they're going to have their memories, their past. That's a special complex. You know, like, and a whole bunch of people were affected by it. But, and of all the people affected by it, they all have different charts, different signs, different ways of dealing with it. You know, so, yeah, okay. Next week, I was hoping to do 4 weeks, one on each of the angles, but next week I'm going to do the four angles and aspects to each of the angles, to the IC, to the ascendant, to the descendant, to the MC, to the descendant. And I'm going to try and work through that. I'm hoping I complete it. If not, we'll put it in another class. But that's up till now we've been dealing with planets and functions with the angles at sensitive points. Still very valid information. So we're going to go through that next week. Thanks for putting up with Pluto. But it's useful to know. So each planet have different frequencies of energies. The result of going through all these exercises that we have with all the categories is just to get a sense of each different level of consciousness and to have a kind of functional, textural sense of it, so it's alive to you. Then astrology becomes alive to you. The other stuff, after we get through the natal interpretations, the rest is just fun. This is the work of doing the working the chart and working to see that it's connecting to you. Once you have that, all the rest is just techniques to watch and observe what's happening and see when things happen and what to do. And always transits around the world are challenging the depth of your character. Everything is trying to make you be more you, and you're having to fight to be more you and more your chart as you go on. Yeah, so, okay, I'm done. Thank you, and we'll see you next week for the angles, okay? Much more happier week than dealing with Pluto. Okay, bye.